Welcome. This is another episode of Q Doma TV. Well, today has just been kind of a little bit of a slow-paced day. It's kind of rainy here in Maryland. I'm just chilling. I was rating some beers that I've tried. That's something I do on my in my spare time. I mean, beers that I like, I actually put it in a certain collection of, like, I guess, almost like a history per se. So I can keep track. Just in case I want to go back to them and, this, I don't know, pick out something and say, well, I want to try that again. But this is not what this video is actually about. I'm just telling you just the ongoings of the moment of the day. This video is pretty much geared to what people will do for money. Interesting thing is how this subject came to fruition. Well, basically, I was at work last night and I got into this debate about, what would you do for a certain amount of money? I asked a few of my coworkers. I mean, it went from the subject matter of starting a business with marijuana. Of course, that's gonna be a whole entire video in itself if I choose to do one about that. The pros and cons. Would I? Should I? That sort of thing. But the question was asked, like, if someone offered you like, $200 million, like, let's say to pose in a picture with a bunch of dildos. Now, mind you that you're not a woman, but mind you if you're a guy. This is a sensitive subject. And I understand, some guys would say, well, I'm comfortable with bisexuality. Is this a picture? But the thing about it is, you gotta keep in mind, once this is done, there's no going back from it. I could say that for anything. But then, someone could say, hey, is this a picture? The money is gonna make the deal, and that's gonna be what it is. One of the arguments one of my coworkers said, he said, well, if you get $200 million, just for doing that picture, it beats working at your current job because that, staying there forever. You know, I debate and argue on that because my whole thing is, I mean, I understand from the perspective where he's coming from. He's coming from the point where, doing something about it, even if it means if you have to degrade yourself a little bit or humiliate yourself a little bit. Even to a certain degree, when people work at jobs, there's a certain level of humiliation you have decided to put up with that job to deal with getting the compensation that comes out of that job. And some might argue, well, what is the difference in this aspect? Well, I guess I'm looking at it from the perspective from, as you as an individual. Sure, you might choose to take the money and do this, but I guess the question is, can you still look at yourself in the mirror after that? My question to myself, I said, could I actually really do something like that? I don't know. It's just like, I mean, on one hand, I feel, personally, it's a comfortability factor. But at the same time, I put myself in situations where I've had to step out of my comfort zone. But the thing about it is, this is doing something this for personal gain of getting a large amount of money that would set me for life. But I don't know. it's very debatable. On one hand, I feel, I like to have options where it where I don't have to humiliate myself just to get the game. That's just the way I feel about it. Some other people might feel different. $200 million. What do you think about that? Now let's take it to another level. I asked this question. I said, well, okay, let's up it a little bit. Would you if and then someone else asked this question. They said, would you slap your own mother for $200 million? They asked me that question. I said, and I answered it instantly. I said no. They said why? They said, the other dude, another dude that was there, he said, if he had $200 million, he slapped his mother as hard as he could. I'm like, okay. But when I see how people reacted to certain things, you know, it questions what comes to mind to me is I'm questioning their character, because if it only takes a large amount of money for them to say they would do that, then my question is, how far are they willing to go? Okay, I even went as far as taking it even further. I said, okay, here's another question. For $200 million, would you kill your own mother, or would you kill someone else's mother? And the thing about it is that one of my coworkers, they came into mind. They said they would. They said they would do it for $200 million. And then it got even deeper. Someone even brought up the argument. They said, well, if you could kill somebody, anybody, for $200 million, and you could get away with it, would you do it? There, you're just taking away the whole concept of any consequence from this, and you're bringing in the gain of what you can get from, but mind you, no consequences. This is a scary thought when you think about it. $200 million. All you have to do is just kill somebody. But they choose who you kill, or whoever it is, and you got to do it. And if you do it, you said that you get to $200 million. I mean, I was like, I don't want to say no. I mean, that's pushing it. I mean, once again, this comes back to another aspect: is there are certain levels or certain lines that you just don't cross, because once you cross that line, there's no coming back from it. Literally, you are changed forever. Because once you go down that path, that's it. You start killing, and then I said, okay, well, all right. If you're gonna kill someone else's mother, you might as well start the tally rap, or the roster. You might as well start with children, the elderly. I mean, there's no limit to where that's going, pretty much. In a nutshell, I even went as far. I said, okay, let's make it more interesting. All right, for those of y'all that are religious, I'm not. Okay, for $200 million, would you go in a church, murder everybody in the church, and well, okay, let me refrain. No, kill some of the people in the church, and at the same time torture and kill some people at the same time within that church for $200 million? There's a question that I want to ask you. Would you do that? And when I upped it like that, then the thoughts kind of changed a little bit. It went from okay, one individual to a whole bunch of people. And then it just kind of people feel differently about something. Now, and here's another one now this one is a little, now coming back down a little bit. One guy said he'll do anything for the $200 million as long as it's nothing gay, like having sex with a dude or nothing like that. And he brought up the subject matter. He said, well, if you have sex with a dude or do anything like that, there's no coming back from that. But I could equally say the same thing. I could say, you killing somebody, there's no coming back from that. I mean, but the question you gotta ask yourself, well, what's one be worse? For the $200 million, having sex with a dude or killing somebody, or let alone torturing somebody, because one of the guys told me, he said, now, like I said, I'm taking this on the face value of what he told me. He said there was a situation, I don't know, a friend of his or someone. They had somebody tied to a tree, and they had pit bulls, and they literally turned the pit bulls on the guy, and the pit bulls, I pretty much from what he told me, they fed him to the pit bulls. They literally got torn apart, and he sat there and watched that. And I'm like, I was like, okay, literally. He went into some graphic details of, pretty much, he, his private, the guys got eaten and all that other stuff. I was like, oh boy. I said, that's just real wonderful. That's real special. You literally watching someone getting eaten by dogs. I was like, yes, this definitely brings up some trust issues. Literally, I mean, I don't know. I question myself, I love to have these conversations because it's interesting to see where people's minds are, and it really, it begs the question, you know, if if you were in them circumstances, what you would really do. But it also makes me start to think about how people are. I say, if you're willing to do that, who's to say you won't do that to me? I mean, I'm just saying, it's like it really makes you think. Humanity is the most brutalist creature on this planet. Literally. We are the only creature on this planet that literally will do anything to any ends to achieve our goals. I mean, literally. I mean, I tell you, scary business. Very, very scary business. I mean, but I don't know. But going back to where I was coming from, that whole subject matter with the money, it's still crazy because the one dude, he said, now there was one guy on my job who said he would sit there and have sex with a dude, or he would give a dude a blowjob for like $1 million, and I'm like, I was like saying to myself, fuck that, no, I don't care. You could offer me all the money in the world, not going to happen. That's just like it's just like that TV show. I think I saw. I forget what the name of what it was, but it was a situation where the dude, I think his daughter got kidnapped, and in order to get his daughter, he had to have sex with a pig on live TV. I'm sorry, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. In a real life scenario, I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, even for money, that's just not gonna happen. Well, okay, here's the other argument. The other argument is, okay, it's easy to sit there and say what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do, provided that the situation has not literally presented itself right before you. Because anyone can say that. So this whole matter is literally subjective in itself. Because people will say one thing, and then they'll turn around and say something else when when the actual thing actually happens. I'll say, and I'll also say this for myself. I would hope, if a large amount of money was presented to me, that I would be able to rationalize myself to the degree where I would not literally just do something for, just for the hell of it, just to get the money. I will say that. But I mean, I'm saying in my sound mind what I feel that I would do. You know, mind you, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. You know, and going back to any other individuals that, you know, touching base on this, because I'm gonna tell you, this is something, this is real talk. You got a lot of people, you know, behind closed doors, they would do the worst of the worst of, even to as far as from the self-humiliation, even if it meant having sex with the same sex person, killing somebody or whatever, they would do it literally for the money, no matter what. Because, you know, that's just what it is. You know, this is the truth be told. Now, you know, like I said, this subject is literally it's subjective, you know, as far as where, you know, where go, because, you know, you never know, you be put in a situation, and, you know, it's like, you know, do or die. You know, do you feel, you know, how bad enough do you feel that you need the money? And, you know, my whole thing is, I guess from my perspective, I also feel that, you know, money ain't everything. You know, don't get me wrong, it's a tool that helps you to achieve and get things, but it is not the ultimate end to all things. And I'm sure there's some people out there that are going to totally disagree with me all the way around there. They're going to say, you know, money is everything, you know, is whatever. And, you know, that's just like the whole concept of that whole term, like, you know, money's the root of all evil. No, the root of that aspect in itself, from my understanding, is people being greedy overall. That the root of, you know, people just being deceitful or whatever, you know, and stuff getting out of hand, is that it ain't money. You know, money was, you know, before even money was even put there. Trust me, people were already being greedy and killing each other and whatever. That stuff has been there since day one. You know, that junk is not going away no time soon. But I just had to make a video about this because, you know, it was just kind of running my mind, you know. It made me think, and I was like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of people I know, you know, they're trying to get out of their current situation. They don't, you know, like I know where I work at. I'm telling you, it's a lot of people. You know, I understand, you know, they want to do something better with themselves or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, there are fine lines to what I'm going to do to actually, you know, go from one transition to another. You know, I just feel that's, you know, there's such thing as there's a line. But then again, you know, another aspect of that I could say is, arguably I could say there is no line really. There's only the line that you decide to create, if there is one. You know, it's like the question in the matter is like, whatever you do is up into interpretation. The question is like, well, how far are you gonna go before you literally cut yourself off at the cutoff point? That's just like I told somebody. I said, well, you know, within theory, if you think about it, you can do anything, you can think anything. But let's go back to the doing part. The doing part is, you know, you can do anything on this planet, anything you want, provided there ain't somebody else to stop you or something to stop you, per se. You know, now I'm kind of jumping off the subject. But this video is running a little long. Yeah, it's like 19 minutes now. Jeez. I didn't think it was running this long. Alright, but that's all I wanted to go into. I mean, I know usually I do videos about other stuff, but I mean, this video, this is something I just wanted to talk about. Well, this is Qdoma. This is the Rubius Arcos channel. Leave your questions and comments. You know, what do you think you'll do for money? For how much money do you think you would do it for? You know, put your comments down, and you know, I might look at them. You know, who knows? Maybe I might make a separate video off that and say, hey, you know, we can talk about that or something. This is Q Doma out. I'll see you in the future. Thank you.